Hello, thank you for coming to my channel. Ooh, what's playing? What? Their feedback? I think we're good now. Okay. My name is Zara Hoffman. I'm a self-published author of young adult paranormal romance, and welcome to my channel. This live stream is going to go for 2 hours, and I'm going to be critiquing some queries and pitches that have been sent in to me. And I have 3 lovely guest hosts who are going to ask questions, because why not? So first, Haley, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Haley. I also have an AuthorTube channel, and where I post like writing positivity and writing vlogs, and I'm excited that I'm excited to be here.
Kelly.
Hello, my name is Kelly. I am a YA fantasy writer who also makes the YouTube videos about writing relating things. Yeah, and they're just a wide variety of stuff. And I'm also excited to be here.
Doll.
Hi, I'm Dal Cecil Bruno. I'm a partially blind alien, and I'm a known voices author. I write mostly sci-fi, but I also like to write multi-genre. So yeah, that's I want to try everything, and I also write some poetry, and I'm super, super happy to be here.
Cool. I'm just posting on Instagram that we're live. Okay, let's get into it. I counted like 5 minutes before this, and I already forgot. I believe I have 8 queries to get through. Okay, so if you have any questions about what I'm saying, feel free to interrupt me, co-hosts, and in the chat, feel free to ask questions, and I'll go through them at different in between reading out the queries. And please put a Q and a colon in front of your question so I can easily find it. But first, I'm going to quickly say hello to people. So hello, Catherine. Hello, Natalie. Hi, Holly. Thank you for being here. Hi, Kat. Hi, Regina. Hi. Okay, so I believe, yeah, this is the first one. So this is a query. There are a few ones that have pitches. Most of them are queries. There's, I believe, one query that has 2 pitches, and then I believe there's one that's basically just a pitch. So we'll see how this goes. Okay. For the record, everything that was sent to me as a query did have like Dear Agent, but like obviously that was something that was going to be filled in later. So I'm not critiquing that part, but when writing a query letter, you need to introduce the story the way I'm about to read the first paragraph of this query. Ooh, who's playing me? Okay, I don't know, whatever. You need to introduce your story very quickly, and then you need to give like a little bit more about the story, but you also want to talk about why you are querying the specific agent, the same way you do in a cover letter where you say, I want to work at this company because. And a good way to normally do that is be like, oh, I know that you've represented X, Y, Z books, and that's always on the agent's website. And sometimes it's just on the agent website, it'll say our clients, and then you have to click on the specific books to see which agent represented it, which it involves work, but it's a good way to show that you've done your research on the agent. Okay, complete at 80, first query that I'm critiquing reads, complete at 80,000 words, Secrets of the Neath is an own voices YA fantasy featuring LGBT plus characters and a central FF romance. It features similar elements from Of Fire and Stars and Throwaway Girls and the universe of The Dark Crystal. After Alma's sister disappears, she struggles to keep her gang of homeless kids safe from menacing officials and rival gangs on the streets of steampunk New Prussia. If I mispronounce something and you're the author, I apologize. Okay. When a
No, sorry. My phone just went off.
Okay.
Also, hey, I wrote this.
Okay. Okay. When a rival gang threatens war unless Alma finds a missing jewel for them, she enters the ruins in hopes of finding it and information on her sister's last whereabouts. Instead, she falls down a hole into the ancient underground kingdom of the Neath, the world of elves long since forgotten to time. The elves insist Alma is their lost princess and must deliver the missing jewel, actually an ancient elven artifact, to a distant city and bring peace to the Neath. With no choice but to go along in hopes of finding her sister, Alma journeys into the subterranean world of dark forests and craggy mountains, accompanied by her plant-loving, scholarly best friend and 2 elven guards with dangerous secrets. But as she learns, she isn't the first elven princess sent on this quest, or even the first human. But okay, oops, my bad. I'm going to reread that sentence because I thought there was a pause. Okay. But as she learns she isn't the first elven princess sent on this quest or even the first human, Alma will have to decide what she's willing to risk to uncover the truth about her sister's disappearance and how the elves are really planning to save the Neath. Her friends, herself, or even Elena, the beautiful but austere elven captain she's falling in love with. Secrets of the Neath will be my 3rd completed book in 4 years and the 2nd I've entered into PitchWars. I have a BA in theater and creative writing. I have served as editor to multiple literary magazines in addition to writing and producing several original plays. I've recently started an AuthorTube channel to document my writing journey, and you can find me on Twitter as username redacted. That was for privacy. Okay. Very interesting. Definitely like the pitch part at the beginning. It's succinct and it like has good. So if I say comp titles, it means it's short for comparable titles. And comparable titles are basically showing that you know your market and that you say like, oh, these 2 things which are popular, I have elements of those in my thing, which is why I think you'll like it. And I actually have to find comp titles for homework that's due on Tuesday for something. So I'll be doing that after this stream ends.
It's hard. Let me tell you, it's hard.
I have to do it for nonfiction. So that's going to be hard for me because I don't really read that much nonfiction. So, but okay. So I really like the pitch. The rest of the description of the book is good, but it's long. You want it as short as possible. And I think also there are some really long sentences, which if you broke them up into smaller or just rewrote them to be shorter sentences, the pacing would go faster and would feel more exciting. And you just not that it doesn't sound exciting now, but you just want your story to sound as exciting as possible because you need to get an agent to agree to like put their effort into your story versus the like thousands of other queries they get. So like this sentence, the elves insist Alma is their lost princess and must deliver the missing jewel, actually an ancient elven artifact, is great. Like this sentence is great. And after Alma's sisters disappear, this is fine. This is like important, especially underground kingdom of the Neath, the world of elves long since forgotten to time. Like that's all very important. But this part about the rival gangs, if it could be shortened at all, because it's like, oh, she's in the ruins because of the rival gang, but then it's really about the Neath. So I don't know if you could even cut it. You could even say after Alma's sister disappears, she struggles to keep her gang of homeless kids safe from menacing officials and rival gangs on the streets of steampunk New Prussia. Steampunk is great because it adds another thing about what the story is.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just say, while trying to like find out about her sister's last whereabouts or something, like word it better. Like then you can go right into she falls down a hole into the ancient underground. You know what I mean? Like you want to get to the good stuff faster.
Yeah. I think when it comes to the beginning of mine, I feel kind of bogged down in like the specific steps that need to happen.
Yeah.
But they don't need to all be there. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So this sentence I would shorten or just literally basically cut and just say and do like as she's searching for her sister falls down a hole, and then keep the rest of this sentence, which is great. And then here, I like the first sentence of this paragraph, like I said, the one where the elves insist Alma is their lost princess. And I know this is about the journey and the fantasy, but I would almost go right to, but as she learns she isn't the first elven princess sent out on this quest. I don't think you even need to say first human. Just say first elven princess sent on this quest. She'll have to decide what she's willing to risk. And then the rest of the sentence is pretty much okay, but maybe break it up about, what she's willing to uncover about her sister's disappearance, and then the romance in a different sentence, because it is a little bit long, this final sentence. And then the like bibliography paragraph, which is like why first of all, you say it's in own voices, and I would.
Hey, I have a comment on technical stream issues. Do you have headphones? Because like if you're playing the stream from your speakers, there's going to be feedback. So like, yeah, if you can wear headphones, that will be better.
Oh, is there feedback?
I hear every so often.
It sometimes comes out. Yeah.
Like, I think someone is playing the stream on their device.
I don't have mine up.
Okay, that's weird. Because I don't have it up either, and I've never had this issue before.
I am wearing headphones, and I also mute my microphone whenever I'm not speaking. I just use the mixer instead of the StreamYard button, so it's not me.
Okay,
It was just a technical comment, but like, let's move on.
Okay, no.
Do you want us to mute ourselves while you're talking?
Maybe. Let's just try that and see if that fixes it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, the third paragraph, Secrets of the Neath, will be my third completed book in 4 years. I don't think this is necessary. I think it does prove, though, that you write quickly, so that you can keep it or you can take it out. I think that's a matter of preference. BA in theater and creative writing, served as an editor. This is all very good. I've recently started an AuthorTube channel. I would just capitalize the T at the start of tube to like style it the same way YouTube styles it, to be clearer. I'm trying to decide whether own voices at the top is enough that you don't have to say it again at the bottom. It should be. I just know that a lot of people in their queries that I was reading, they would say the own voices thing also at the bottom to like really drive that home. So that's a choice I leave up to you.
Maybe I could really just double down on the gay part.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's up to you. It's a personal choice. Like you're already saying own voices, so like you're outing yourself. But like I don't know to what extent you want to or whatever. So
okay. Yeah.
There's a question in the chat.
Yes, I'm about to get to it, but I want to make sure that there are no questions from any of my other co-hosts, Kelly or Doll.
Yes, I have. It was not really a question; it's more of a comment because I was like super intrigued. It was just like a compliment whenever I saw the universe of the Dark Crystal, because I don't know how many people have actually seen that, but it's amazing. And if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. That's what I say.
Look, not gonna lie, I binge watched the whole like new Netflix show in like 2 days. It was awesome.
It is. It's really good. I loved it.
Doll, do you have any questions?
No, I was just listening to your critique and like kind of nodding along in the parts like where you said that there was like a long running sentence, and I noticed it too because you stumbled upon it, and I was like, okay, let me read that. I was like, that's a problem immediately, because as soon as you are having hesitations reading it, the agent is gonna, whoever the agent is, or the assistant, or the intern, whoever, is also gonna have problems, and that automatically. They just need a fraction of a second to reject you.
Yeah.
It's that hard.
Yeah.
So I was just listening to you and like actually agreeing. I was like, whoa, I did not expect to agree with someone who knows way more than I do. But okay. Yeah, but other than that, it's a very nice query.
Yeah, I should say, I don't think I said it at the beginning. These are all my personal opinions built on what I thought while reading queries, which was itself guided in knowing what my 3 agent bosses were looking for. So you might find an agent who is okay with a longer book description in a query, but it's always better to err on the safer side because there are so many agents who don't. And things like that. That's kind of what all my critiques are, where it's like, here's what I'm thinking. You don't have to take my advice, but it's there. Okay, the question in the chat. With comp tiles, should we not pull something super famous like Harry Potter or Twilight and do pull something recent within the past 10 years? Okay.
Not even 10 years, like 5 years. Even.
I was actually going to say 3 years.
Holy shit.
5 years is pushing it a little bit. If something is really, really huge, like Harry Potter or Twilight, you are going to make an agent roll their eyes because everyone wants to think that they're the next that, and the chances aren't. It's better to pick, you want to go with most recent and most pop and most successful at the same time. So it doesn't mean it has to have hit like a bestseller list, but it needs to like have done well enough, and you can always figure that out with Amazon by looking at like reviews. And if you really want to get technical, you can. I'm forgetting the website right now. There's a website. I think it's Katie Rocket. There. Anyway, there's a website where you can like type in a link from Amazon, and it'll tell you like how many books it's selling a day. Which isn't as important. It's more just like, do you know a story that's popular and recent, so that an agent can be like, oh, people like this, and it's not like, oh, well, that was back then, no one's going to like it now. Yeah, so you don't want to go for like too crazy, but if it's something like a classic, then maybe, especially if you're doing a retelling, like you'd want to say, like if you're retelling Pride and Prejudice or something, make that clear. But then maybe have a comp title that's like closer to the twist you're adding to it, if that makes sense. So like if someone's there's a young adult book set in China coming out. It's like set in the 20s, and it's a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, and it says that. Yeah, Haley? I'm not a teacher. You guys don't have to raise your hands. You can just unmute yourself and talk.
Okay. These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong.
Yeah. That's exactly, yeah. I'm so excited for that book.
Me too.
Okay, yeah, I was right.
That does sound really good.
Okay, KDP Rocket called Publishing Rocket. I knew that they had changed the name, and I was just like, I think that was the website, though, because thank you, Regina, for clarifying. Hi, Disney Panda. Yeah.
When does that book come out? I don't even like romance, but that sounds good.
I'm gonna look it up. I literally just saw it.
I follow the
I'm trying
author
to
on
like
TikTok.
November 17th.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I might get it. I'm trying to diversify my reading list.
I subscribe to Asian book reviews, and they review nonfiction, fiction, and like other things, and it's a really good list. I just have to read more from it. I have to read more, period. Okay, next query. Wolves of Night and Darkness is a young adult urban fantasy that meshes supernatural elements as seen in Teen Wolf and themes relating to the Devouring Grey by Christine Lynn Herman at 78,200 words. Wolves of Night and Darkness is a standalone with series potential. Okay, first of all, you do not have to say 78,200 words. You can just say, like, give us a rounder number. So even though you have 200 words over 78,000, just say 78,000. You don't want the brain to have to think about anything more than it needs to. So if you just say 78,000, it goes faster in the mind. The Devouring Grey is all in caps as a book title, so you don't all these book titles, or I mean Wolves of Night and Darkness and Devouring Grey do not need to be in quotation marks because they are already capitalized to show they are titles. If you were to italicize or underline them, you also would not need quotation marks, because a quotation mark indicates that you're talking about like a short story or a poem. And that's just something I learned from writing papers. So that's one thing. It's not a huge thing, but it is technically a grammatical error, and you don't want your query to have any of those, especially at the start. Good comp title. You can I want to clarify, you can include movies or TV shows as comp titles, even though they're called titles. If you can't think of multiple books. But it is always good to have at least one book as a comp title to show that it's not just popular in movies or TV, but like it's popular being read too. Okay, next paragraph. After joining the town... Oops, sorry. Yeah?
It's okay. Would you suggest including the authors for the comp titles?
Yes.
Like how this person included Christine Lynn Herman?
I would, because there are... I mean, definitely within the romance genre, there are a lot of like the same titles just by different authors. But I think for clarity, if an agent doesn't know the book, they want to be able to look it up easily, and you don't want them to find something that's not what you meant. So yeah, adding the authors of the comp titles is a great idea. Okay, next paragraph. After joining the town-wide hunt to recover two missing locals, 16-year-old Casey Kahn and her friends unexpectedly fall prey to unearthing the mauled remains of the bodies. Yikes. Sorry. Yikes as in that would be awful if it were real life. That's a good sentence. I realized that. Okay, I'm going to read and hold my critiques and responses back. Okay. In the midst of grappling for answers, the return of an old founding family, the Sullivans, resurrects tension within the town of Moon Valley, especially with the mayor's family, the Dorians. Okay, it's a little bit grammatically, it's not wonky, but I would streamline the sentence. So I would say something like, in the midst of grappling for answers, the return of an old founding family resurrects tension within the town of Moon Valley. Because Casey is not in either family. So you don't need to know the names of these prominent families within the town, because you want to keep the story about her in this query. Yeah, and having the name the Sullivans and the Dorians, you're adding extra commas correctly for a positives to indicate that the mayor's family is the Dorians and the Sullivans are the old founding family that is returning. But you don't need those details. So I would leave it to, in the midst of grappling for answers, the return of an old founding family resurrects tension within the town of Moon Valley. It's succinct, it's to the point. It gives you the same tension without making you confused or bogging it down with details that you don't need. You always want to be as tight as possible, like I've said before, and I will probably say a lot more times while going through the queries and pitches during this stream. Next paragraph. Unable to ignore the rising quarrel between the two family legacies, Casey and her older sister Lily become snared in the middle of the clashing bloodlines that have a history of teeth and claws. Casey doesn't want to believe the rumors, but when she comes face to face with the ravenous wolf, she discovers that monsters are real. Okay. First thing, rumors is spelled the British way. I don't know if the rest of this, if this is supposed to be written in American English or British English. So just make sure whatever you're doing is consistent. Most agents assume it's in American English, but if you have other things, then it works itself out. Just make sure you're consistent with spelling.
Further down, it says that the author is Canadian. Do they spell their words the British way?
They do. Sometimes. Yeah. Thank you. Forgot about that. Okay. Yeah. But just as
I have another question.
As a thing, make sure that you have it consistent. The sentence, unable to ignore the rising quarrel between two family legacies, Casey and her older sister become, I would say, ensnared. I don't think snared on its own is the best word here, but ensnared would be perfect. In the middle of the clashing bloodlines. I don't think you need bloodlines that have a history of teeth and claws. I understand like the imagery, but you have bloodlines right next to each other, and it, rather than seeming like, oh, you're mimicking the sentence structure with in a good way, it seems redundant here. So I would actually just cut bloodlines that have a history of teeth and claws, because in the previous paragraph, you've already said there's tension between the families, and then you say clashing bloodlines and quarrel between two family legacies. So we've gotten it a lot. We've gotten it 3 times in 2 sentences already without the highlighted section that I think should be deleted. And then Casey doesn't want to believe the rumors, but when she comes face to face with the ravenous wolf, she discovers that monsters are real. Great. It's short and to the point. Okay, next paragraph. Untamed, ferocious, and filled with bloodlust, 2 cursed lines of werewolves pose a threat to Casey and everyone she cares about, including her sister Lily, who is thrust unwillingly into the center of it all. To protect herself and the one she loves, Casey must make dangerous alliances behind the shadows, trust the maledictions of archaic witches, and guard her own heart from an achingly charming boy and the girl who has stolen her breath since childhood. Okay, so it sounds like there's a love triangle. This first sentence, untamed, ferocious, and filled with bloodlust, 2 cursed lines of werewolves pose a threat to Casey and everyone she cares about. Fine. I do not think we need this sentence about the sister specifically, because it's already said in the previous paragraph, Casey and her older sister become snared or ensnared in the middle of the clashing bloodlines. So that's redundant. To protect herself and the one she loves, Casey must make dangerous alliances. Behind the shadows sounds is a little bit cliche, so I would just say must make dangerous alliances. Trust the maledictions of archaic witches is like a very unique phrasing, so definitely keep that. And guard her own heart from an achingly charming boy and the girl who has stolen her breast in childhood. I like the descriptions, but you have the girl who has stolen her breast in childhood is longer than an achingly charming boy. So it's a little bit lopsided, the sentence, and you want a little bit more symmetry just to really hit home that it's like a love triangle, because it just it doesn't seem as well balanced as you would hope a love triangle to be. Last paragraph of the story description, and then we're going to get to the bio. As the wolves grow more restless and savage in the fight for power, Casey is prepared to do whatever it takes to end the age-long feud. Even if it means throwing herself in the mouth of beasts, she will do whatever it takes to survive. I have no critiques on that. It's short, to the point, exciting, intriguing. Okay, bio. I am a Canadian writer from Ontario who is currently taking English and creative writing as a major in university. When I am not writing, you can find me with my sorority sisters in a bookstore or lost in the woods. Okay, first sentence, great. It says your education. The second sentence sounds like an internet bio, and while it could be included eventually in like an author bio, and it does say that you're in a sorority, so maybe that could be a point of like interest for an agent. None of these things really have to do with your story. So mentioning like hobbies that you have, unless they're really, really interesting, if they're not tied to your story in any way, I would almost leave them out because it just kind of takes away from the story. The story is selling you through this letter. Like obviously you're writing it to sell the story, but it's not about you, if that makes sense. So if you're like, if I were querying and my story was about magic and I was like, oh, I grew up around musical theater, like, yeah, an agent might ask me about that, but it has nothing to do with my story. So there's no real reason I would want to include that. Thank you for your time and consideration. Yeah, you always want to say thank you at the end. I forgot to say that with the first one. It's just a quick thing. I don't remember if that had been included and I just forgot to paste it in. I changed what I was copying and pasting for the different ones. So yeah, you just want to say thank you for reading, whoever's reading it, because you always have to keep in mind they have thousands in their email all the time, unless we're in a pandemic, in which case they probably have more. Okay, I'm gonna quickly go through. Do any of you have questions about what I talked about for this query? Haley, Kelly, or Doll?
I am just very thankful for the technical comments on like the quotation marks and caps and like grammar, because those are the visual things that I might fail on because I'm blind. So I never know about those things, and it's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, Catherine in the comments said, yeah, I get confusing about the quotes. Just so I stick with all caps. Keelan came in. Hello, Keelan. Hi, Allie, Danya. Hi, Sarah. Yes, if everyone could leave a like to the stream, that would be incredibly helpful for my channel.
And subscribe if you haven't already. Zara is wonderful.
Thank you.
Smash the like button, caress that subscribe button, hit that bell, all the things. It's free.
It's all free.
Also, I wasn't sure up until like very close to the stream starting who would be on screen with me. So I did not link their channels down below, but after this stream
not expected
over,
to be advertised.
Yeah,
not expected.
Stream, I will go and link their channels so you can subscribe to all of these lovely ladies. They're also wonderful. And
I have a question. Like it just came back to me. I have a question because like your confusion about like the spelling, and then further down it says the author is Canadian, I think.
Yes.
Do we have to disclose like I am from this place and I live here and I do this? Because I am completely anonymous. People barely know where I live. Barely.
No, you don't have to do that. Sometimes it is in some ways, like if you're not from an English-speaking country, sometimes it can almost be like a tally in your column of like, oh, this is a diverse author. And there are people who like are searching for that.
Are they?
Yeah.
Really?
Hey, I'm really sorry. My cat is like making a mess.
That's
I'll
okay.
be back.
Yeah, so you don't have to say personal stuff about you, or what you're studying, or there's no real requirement for what you say about yourself. I did say the thing about like maybe don't bring up stuff that's irrelevant, unless it's really interesting, but there's no especially if you're writing under a pen name, there's no like, oh, you have to say this, this, and this. Does that answer your question?
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Because like it's a pen name for a reason. I am very anonymous, and it's on purpose. Like you barely can see me. You know what I mean? So it's good that I don't have to. Because like even adding my legal name in the sincerely this person writing as Dal, even adding my legal name is like I don't want to, but I know I have to, so I do.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah, Kelly.
whenever you're co-writing, because you guys know I'm co-writing a story with RP, and we've talked about which tradition, like publishing route we were going to go, and we decided traditional. If we were to write a query letter, like would we just we would just insert 2 bios, and if we chose to do a pen name, just put so and so writing as one person?
Yes. So you're going to see that in one of the other queries in this document that I'm going to go over. Let me see if it's the next one. No. Okay. It's not the next one, but there is one that is written by 2 people under a single pen name, and they do it a certain way. So I'll circle back around to that question, Kelly.
Okay.
Want to say hi to Maya. Hello. Thank you for coming. As in welcome, not that you're necessarily leaving. Okay, next query. I believe you'll be interested in Abargo's Riddle, a 68,000-word young adult fantasy that pairs the struggles of slaying monsters in The Witcher with the theme of overcoming racism in The Hate U Give. Okay, so Haley had asked for the previous one whether or not you should give author names. And I would still say yes, but given The Witcher and The Hate U Give have both been adapted into, I mean, Netflix was a show, so like a movie and a show, I don't think you need to give the author anymore because it's very clear in pop culture what it is. Yeah, so if someone, like, also, like, if you said Dracula, you don't need to say by Bram Stoker. So, when it's very clear what it is, you don't need to, but if you added the names of the authors here, no one would ding you for it, if that makes sense. 16-year-old Jade longs to explore the land of Bavilia. I hope that I pronounced that correctly. Land of Bavilia and tend to the monsters called fiends her dad protects. But her restrictive and paranoid parents barely let her leave home, cranking out the humans are the real monster speech at least once a week. Adopted and trained by the chief of Bavilia, 16-year-old Mardishian? Okay, I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize. Kills fiends with his dagger. Although he finds worth in the chief's fatherly praise and approval of his skills, he feels the sting of his late parents' words to respect all life. When Jade's father is arrested after Mardishian catches him helping a fiend, Jade leaves the safety of her sheltered life to search for the anonymous Abargo the Riddler. She's well aware of the rumor that Abargo was sent by their god to grant power and truths to any brainiac who solves all his riddles. But when the chief enacts a new law to banish all fiends to certain death on a barren island, Mardishian is tasked with slaying the strongest of fiends, and anyone who opposes the law, including Jade's dad. With each unraveled riddle, Jade learns that something far greater than herself is at work, while Mardishian's dwindling kill numbers raise suspicions in the chief. Jade must discover her true nature before her dad and all fiends are wiped from the world forever, and before Mardishian's fight for control costs them both their freedom. I work as a physical therapist in Chicago and enjoy playing with my 3 babies who all have fur. I give writing advice and interact with the community via my YouTube channel. I'm also the creator of the Happy Balanced Writer Workbook, co-creator of Writer Tip Tuesdays on Twitter, and host of the Diversity is Lit Book Club. Thank you for your time and consideration. Okay, let's go over this. Me stumbling over certain words is fine because most people would read this in their head and they're a fantasy word. So it's okay. It's because I'm reading it out loud and I'm not the author that it sounds bad, doll. Yeah, you don't need your fantasy names to be able to be like, you don't want them to have like a bunch of consonants next to each other, so you have no idea how they're supposed to be pronounced, but like these are okay. I'm not inside the author's head to know how to pronounce them perfectly. The first two paragraphs introduce both of the characters, which is great. When Jake's father is arrested. Okay, so you have the inciting incident, so that's good. The sentences, especially this, yeah. Okay, so the sentences in the middle paragraph where she's well read the rumor that Abargo was sent by their god to grant powers and truths to any brainiac who solves all his riddles. It kind of like it is a full sentence, but it almost sounds like it's the start of a thought rather than a complete thought on its own, and it's a bit long. So if there's a way to shorten it, that would be better. But when the chief, so maybe some like, okay, so Jade leaves the safety of her sheltered life to search for the mysterious Abargo the Riddler, who is rumored to grant power and truths to anyone who solves all his riddles. Like, it's shorter, and it's still maybe a little bit too long of a description, but it gets the idea across faster. But when the chief enacts a new law to banish all fiends to certain death on a barren island, I don't think we need that on a barren island. The point is that, he's just banishing them. Mardishian is tasked with slaying the strongest of fiends. This part's a little bit confusing to me because why does Mardishian is how I'm pronouncing, sorry, has to slay the fiends if they're being banished already? It's like just a little thing to think about. Like, if you don't say banish and you just say when the chief enacts a new law to condemn all fiends to death, and then you jump to Mardishian is tasked with slaying the strongest fiends, then it wouldn't seem like there's a conflict within that sentence. And anyone who opposes the law, including Jade's dad, fine. With each unraveled riddle, I would maybe change the word unravel just because you have a lot of like unraveled and riddle. When I was reading it, I stumbled a little bit. Just a thought. Jade learns something far greater than herself is at work, while Mardishian's dwindle and kill numbers raise suspicions in the chief. I would say raise the chief's suspicions for greater clarity in the sentence. Jade must discover her true nature before her dad and all fiends are wiped from the world forever, and before Mardishian's fight for control costs them both their freedom. I find this last sentence a little bit more confusing than intriguing, like confusing in a bad way than intriguing in a good way. I would, like, you have a ticking time bomb in it, which is always good. Like, you want your characters to work against something, and in this case, it's like they're working against each other and the time it takes for Mardishian to kill everyone. But I don't know, maybe find a different way to phrase it. Because I get that you're saying Jade must discover her true nature, but I don't feel like that's where the emphasis should be placed in this sentence, given the rest of the story synopsis is about Mardishian basically killing these fiends and Jade's father opposing that and her wanting to like protect her father. If that makes sense. It just kind of feels like it's shifting the focus of the story in the description at the end of the description. And the bio, I think is good. Definitely I'm the creator of the Happy Balance Writer Workbook, co-creator of hashtag Writer Tip 2s on Twitter, and host of a Diversity is Lit book club is great. Like I said earlier, I don't know if you need to include like things that like aren't related, but you know, someone saying what their job is and that they have pets is never like bad either. But yeah, so that's just a choice. Someone.
I have a compliment.
Yes.
Okay, I was just admiring how in this story there's like a Riddler-esque character. It kind of makes me think of Rumpelstiltskin in Once Upon a Time. And I feel like a lot of people could like use characters like that are chaotic like that. I don't know. I just thought it was cool.
Yeah. Also, like you have Loki in mythology and a lot of other gods.
Pan.
Yeah. Let's see. There's Doll. Do you have a question, Haley, about that?
No, not so far. I was just listening to your comments on it.
Okay, there are some.
This is like the fantasy genre is something I don't like. The high fantasy with like made up things. I don't domain it very well, so I don't have much comments on the story in itself, like query style.
Yeah.
So I in this particular case, I was just like listening. I think it's a good thing that like the person has good com titles. It's something I have. So I am so terrible with com titles. I don't even have com titles. So like seeing it done well, it's a compliment.
Okay, I'm gonna go over some comments with this. I have another compliment real quick. Especially Dal, like you were saying with fantasy, names are hard. I like these names. Like they seem natural and fitting the story, which is what I think you always want. So
yeah,
good job, person who wrote this query.
Okay, Catherine said, I can tell you that with the contract, you will have your legal name. Yeah. I mean, when you're querying, it's a good idea to give your legal name, but say who you're writing as. But yeah, it'll just be something it's for legal reasons. Okay, someone said. Okay, so someone said that there's a typo in the first paragraph where it says, 16-year-old Jade longs to explore the land of Bovilla and tend to the monsters. The person commenting said it should be tends. I think it is supposed to be and tend to, because Jade longs to tend to the monsters, as in like take care of them, like on a farm or something, is what I'm imagining. So I think tend without an S is correct. Another comment mentioned something saying, I believe you will be interested. Oh, yeah. Okay, so in the first opening, it says, I believe you will be interested in Abargo's riddle. I would cut that out. I would just say, so the person in my comments saying, oh, I would change I believe you will to something more assertive. I know you will, I hope, or I believe. In this case, I would actually disagree with that comment as well. You do not want to directly talk to the agent and say, this is what you're going to feel. Or I think you're going to feel this way. It's not a good idea. It would be better to just say, Abargo's riddle is a 68,000 word young adult fantasy that pairs blah, 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 blah. Like the second half of this sentence is fine. but I would take out I believe you would be interested in. For example, like the earlier ones it just starts with the title and then it goes into it. And then the other one said word count first and then the title. You want to get right into it, and you don't want to say, I think you will like this, or this story will leave you like wanting to turn.
Don't do that. Don't tell the agent how they are supposed to feel.
Yeah.
Real quick, before you move on to this one, can I say something?
Yeah. Wait. Actually, there's one more question. There's one more question in the comments. Okay. In a job cover letter, you usually write something like, I am available to meet or discuss my application at your convenience. Do you say this in a query? No, you do not say this in a query. An agent will get back to you if they are interested. In most cases, if they're not interested, you just never hear back from them. They know that you're expecting an answer. You don't say anything about that. You would also say, like, you just finished with thank you for your time and consideration or something similar. Yes. Okay. We're done with that.
Okay.
Yes.
Going into this next one, just want to put it out there. This is mine. It is only a quick pitch because I'm not doing PitchWars. I just needed a nice pitch for my end of the month mini video. So just disclaimer, I know it's super short, but it's for a different thing than PitchWars. That's why.
Okay. Just quickly, Danya asked, are queries always this long? I thought they should be a paragraph. Story description should be a paragraph long. You want them as short as possible. They can be 2 paragraphs, but you don't want them to be 2 long paragraphs. And it would be worse to have one giant block of text as the story description rather than 2 smaller paragraphs. I've seen a query with like 5 large paragraphs of story description. I've seen like a giant page of text that was like a single paragraph and all story description. You want to give the eye space to breathe. So if you feel like you have a lot, you'd rather break it up into 2 paragraphs. That's okay. But you don't want either of those paragraphs to go on too long. Okay, so let's go over Kelly's. This is a pitch, so this does not include the like bio part. Okay, so my 10,000 word fantasy short story To Kill a Kingdom combines the in-depth world building of the animated show Avatar: The Last Airbender and the fast-paced excitement of the anime Bleach. In a world already plunged by an ancient curse, Blythe Everblossom likes to focus on the important things like perfecting her craft. Hunting and killing nightmares, more specifically night beasts. When Blythe sets out on her 100th mission, her pristine record is tarnished. The failure crushes Blythe, and she blames the victim of the nightmarish attacks for her failure. However, when the Lunar Order cranks up the pressure, Blythe resorts to breaking lunar code. Will her brash actions restore her reputation among the hidden society, or will a budding friendship with the victim be her undoing? Okay. Like the opening, it's to the point and gets all the information out there. You can italicize or bold or all caps the titles of the things here. But don't do all 3 and don't do more than, and don't do 2 either. There are some comma splices, which is a common grammatical mistake, but not something you want in a pitch that you're sending out to potential agents or readers or anything. Like you could say important things, period, like perfecting her craft, which even though the second would be a fragment, it's a stylistic choice, which is acceptable. Yeah. Let's see. When Blythe sits out on her 100th mission, her pristine. Yeah, so that's great. Failure of the curse she blames. This is grammatically correct, but it reads like a run-on sentence, so I would break it up. it says smaller sentences. The failure crushes life, and she blames the victim of the nightmarish attacks for her failure. Also, you have failure twice in one sentence, so it might be better to just say, her pristine record is tarnished, period. She blames the victim of the nightmarish attacks, and when the lunar code cranks up the pressure, Blythe resorts to breaking lunar code. So you get it all faster in a shorter amount of time. But this is like, it's interesting, and I want to read it. So like, that's good. All of these are very interesting stories. I should say that. Like, if I were an assistant, I would pass these all along to my boss, or if I were an agent myself, I would be very interested in them. I'm just giving like semantic critiques, really.
I do agree, though, with the grammar. I am terrible at grammar, so I still haven't learned proper grammar because I'm just a little redneck from Southeast Ohio. So, you know.
I was so worried about grammar because English is my second language, and I'm here like, I hope my query is good. Oh no!
I think definitely. There's Grammarly, which is free. Like, if you search free editing websites or free editing trackers, run your query through those, like a few, not just one, because things will pick up different issues if you're unsure. And then also like have a friend look over it. You can also hire me to do this. But given I'm critiquing ones, if I've already critiqued yours on this stream, I'm not going to like charge you to like do a grammar check. But if for some reason you weren't able to get a critique on this stream, I have a link down below where you can purchase this as a service from me. Let's see.
That's a really wait, I'm sorry, but that's a really good idea. I feel like I should start offering those.
Yeah.
You'll have to tell me how you do it.
I
will
let you know.
I also had a quick question for this for Kelly, your query. But if it's a short story, do you have to specify YA? Like, are there specific places that just take YA fantasy short stories?
Yes.
Yeah. There are journals that are specific about the genre, not just like whether it's a book or a short story. And you always want to be the most specific as possible, because an agent, if you say a short story and they read the description, they have to go farther into it to realize, I'm not interested. Whereas if you say young adult fantasy, they can be like, oh, I don't represent this. And hopefully you don't have that, because you would have done your research and send it to agents who are interested in what you've written. But an agent can then save their time and look at like, oh, I'm not looking to pick up any more of this type of thing, which, can be frustrating, but that's the agent's decision, and you just don't want to waste an agent's time.
That was a good question, Haley. I just have one comment, Zara, is my title is wrong. I thought I emailed you back.
Oh my god,
girl!
Oh, no. To Kill a Nightmare. Okay, I was confused.
You helped me name it.
I know.
It's okay. It's
so
all right.
Sorry, because I was like, The Kill Kingdom is a book, and mistake, copying and pasting. I don't know what happened.
It's okay. I was like reading it, and I was like, oh, that's a good title too. Maybe we should talk about that. Is that what she thinks I should turn the title to? Because I'm terrible with titles. And I remember that you helped me kind of be like, yeah, that one's great, girl. And I was like, awesome. And I was like, oh, did she not like it?
Nope. I'm checking to see if I messed up. Yeah, no, I just totally messed up. I don't know what happened. My bad.
It's okay. It gave us all a laugh.
Yeah. Humans can make mistakes.
Yes, exactly. It's okay.
Like, here's the thing. If you pay me to do this, I'm literally just copying and pasting off of this. Whereas with these, I was copying from emails and documents, but sometimes if they included intros about like certain agents or stuff, I was like finagling with the beginning to so that it would just be the pitch and the query that I was critiquing.
Well, let's be honest.
And I apologize.
It didn't help that I sucked and you had to really milk it out of me, okay? You were like, okay, just this little bit more, Kelly. And I was like, oh, okay. Then you're like, I just need this little bit more. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, you really had to pull for me, and I'm sorry.
Okay, Kelly is revealing some of the behind the scenes where she had sent me her pitch, and like the later paragraphs were all set. But I was like, I need comp titles from you, and I need like a word count, and I need to like know genre. So, yes. Yeah, you want to make sure in your opening you have approximate word count. And like I said for a previous one, if you're at like 78,000 words, 200 words, just say 78,000. You want it like around 1,000 number, even if you're a little bit over or a little bit under. Because agents know that the word count will change, like no matter what, it will change. And then you want the genre and category. So young adult, adult, new adult, although most traditional publishers don't take new adult. So, but whatever. You want that all out there.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
What is this controversy about young adult and new adult?
Okay, so I'll probably make a video about this in the future because I have some very strong opinions. But new adult was basically a genre category. It's not really a genre, although most people assume it's just contemporary romance because that's what it started as. Is for like college students and young adults, as in like adults who are young, not young adults as in like teens who are older, which is like the upper end of YA. And you had this gap where you had all these people who feel like they're too old to read young adult, but they don't want to read adult, but they still wanted more stories. And so indie publishing started creating stories that were like college age romances. And then it started branching out to more like, oh, it can be in other genres, like A Court of Thorns and Roses by, and that was marketed as young adult, which was a big no.
Big no.
And
I love that book, though.
And basically, critics, not critiques, critics of the new adult category are like, oh, it's young adult with sexy times. And yes, but no, like there's more to it. It's more about like, I'm an adult now and I don't have my shit together. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do? And like, you're still dealing with family pressure who like maybe want you to go into a certain career, or like, oh, I'm in my first actual serious relationship. Or I'm in college, or if you're in a fantasy world, it's like you're making your way in the world because your childhood ended probably because someone got killed or something because it's fantasy. You know, it's like,
right.
It's more mature than young adult. And it's like, if you're looking at a lifespan, you have childhood, and then you have where you're exploring things, and then you have middle grade, which is when you're like starting to become more independent from like your parents. So like all the middle grades are like, oh, all these kids go on adventures. And then you have young adult where it's like, oh, they're basically teens. Also, people read up is a thing. So you like a younger kid will read about a character who's their age or older because they don't want to read about someone who's younger than them. And new adult is like maybe the only category that's and adult, because obviously adult is such a huge age range, but like new adult is like the only exception where it's like people are okay with reading about characters their age or even slightly younger. Like a 19-year-old might be okay reading about an 18-year-old, or a 23-year-old might be okay about reading about a 21-year-old within new adult, because it's like the issues from 21 to 23 don't change that much. Whereas issues from 16 to 18 are like huge in most cultures. I'm not going to speak to every culture, but definitely like in Western America, like Western and American culture. I'm not saying west of like Western America as in the Wild West, but like West versus Eastern.
I can say as a cowboy, my problems are much different.
Yeah. So that's the difference between young adult, new adult, and adult. Adult can be about any age range, and then middle grade and young adult and new adult. If it's a good story, it can be about anything, but the characters have to be within a certain age range and dealing with certain themes.
So is new adult an actual category now that you can like pitch?
Not for traditional publishing.
Okay, that was my question.
Well, the thing is it's not a category for traditional publishers because Barnes & Noble and other booksellers, but mostly Barnes & Noble, doesn't know what to do with it. Like, they're not going to create a separate category for it in the bookstore, and they will plop it in whatever they think is better, like young adult or adult, and sometimes make their own call, like A Court of Thorns and Roses, and they have to rebrand and fix it, and I don't want to know how much money that cost to do.
Yeah. Okay. That was a good answer. Thank you.
For PitchWars, I've seen a lot of mentors write on their wish lists that they accept new adult, but they require the mentees to either, well, excuse me.
Age down or age it up.
Right. Exactly. I mean, a lot of the mentors that I'm looking at, because I'm doing YA, request it to be aged down. I haven't seen a lot of aging up, but
yeah, I mean, most people won't take a new adult and age it up, but I don't want to say that would never happen, because there have definitely been middle grade books that have been aged up to young adult by an agent or an editor or both. Like, definitely, I heard a story where an editor had told one of my bosses, like, oh, if this book was written up, like revised upward, they would consider it. So
I have thoughts about this, but I'm going to just wait until more queries happen.
Okay, I'm going to read some comments about young adult, new adult, and I'm just going to see if there's anything I should. Yeah, people really want new adult to become a thing within traditional publishing. Pronoun I came in and said they're late. That's okay. Natalie was very kind and said this is worth a rewatch. So I hope you rewatch it later, the pronoun I at the beginning. People are talking about specific examples. Yeah, different series that are like young adult, but then are really new adult, and whether they're being rebranded as such or not. Honestly, I think if there's a question, it should be rebranded, just because there are definitely parents who get really pissy about this type of stuff. Yeah, I don't know why you would want to label it like in a way that would alienate readers. Yeah. So I would say if you think it's new adult, I would, you might have to rewrite certain things, but I would do it as that. Okay, next query. It does not start out like a query. So I will be having lots of comments about this. Okay. You will go to therapy to fix one thing and leave having exposed everything in your closet. Nora Saunders, 31, a mother, wife, and workaholic, starts seeing a therapist due to anxiety attacks. This is her last resort when doctors refer to her Dr. Evelyn Peters. Each chapter is a therapy session where Dr. Peters helps reveal Nora's negative self-talk that has hardened her exterior to ignore her emotions until they sneak up on her. Through each appointment, Nora is able to decipher her day-to-day struggles. It isn't until a local court case exposes some unaddressed emotional trauma for a recurring childhood nightmare. With Dr. Peters' help, Nora unfolds all the emotions from the skeletons in the back of her closet and the truth of how those skeletons ended up eating Nora from the inside. With Dr. Peters' help, Nora seeks the truth to reclaim her life. My debut novel, Therapy Sessions, is a first-person contemporary women's fiction falling in the subgenre of mental health. The target audience is adult at 72,300 words. It is a standalone book with potential for a standalone book series. I have gone to therapy myself and dealt with anxiety while overworking myself. My 24/7 job are with the U.S. military, a wife, and a mother. I have been an active member of the CritiqueCircle.com since July 2020, and I host writing tip videos on my YouTube channel that has 79 subscribers as of 2021. I hold a BA in Communications and Information Technology and a Master's of Science in Communication Arts. Okay, I have a lot to say. First of all, the third paragraph, my debut novel, Therapy Sessions, is a first-person contemporary fiction falling in the subgenre of mental health. The target audience is adults at 72,300 words, is standalone with potential for a standalone book series. That should go first.
Don't say it's a debut novel.
Yeah.
They already know.
Yeah, that too. But that paragraph you want first. Mental health is not a subgenre. novels, you would say therapy sessions is you don't need to say first person. So therapy sessions is a contemporary, therapy sessions is a 72,000 word contemporary women's fiction novel that deals with mental health. It is a standalone with potential for a standalone book series. There's another term, and I'm trying. Like, I know what you mean, but saying standalone book series, like if an agent is skimming, they might that might make it a bit weird.
Maybe just series potential?
Yeah, I would just say series potential, and then you could talk to them about it more. You don't need to say ages of the characters. Like, this isn't what was it called? Like a classified? Like when people used to put ads for themselves in the paper, I think is what those were called. And then the rest of the story paragraphs, it's very I don't need to know each chapter. It sounds like this reads more like a book proposal, which is a thing for nonfiction, than for a novel. So a nonfiction book proposal is like, this is what each thing is like, whereas a story, you need to sell the story. So, you could, and the line, "You will go to therapy to fix one thing and leave having exposed everything in your closet," like, that's a cool tagline, but that doesn't belong in a query. That is something that you discuss with your agent after you have an agent. So like, instead you might say, Nora Saunders, Dr. Evelyn Peters is Nora Saunders' last resort. Nora suffers from anxiety attacks, and when a local court case exposes some unaddressed emotional trauma from a recurring childhood nightmare, Nora must work with Dr. Peters to I'm not going to say unfold all of the emotions from the skeletons, but like Nora must like deal with her trauma or whatever, like whatever you want to say. I will say, saying skeletons in the back of her closet. First of all, the saying is skeletons in the closet. And it's a bit of a cliche. So I would actually leave that saying out altogether, and of how those skeletons ended up eating Nora from the inside. I think that's pretty clear when you're describing that she has anxiety attacks, and there's the exposure of some unaddressed emotional trauma. Like, I don't think you need to say certain things that are written here just because it's you're not giving the reader, in this case the potential agent, enough credit to figure out what you mean, and you want to make it shorter and snappier. Like, I think this could be a single paragraph, even though it's written as two, if you do the changes I said. And then at the bottom in the bio, I think it's good that you mention you're in critique circle. Like, it shows that you're dedicated to your work. If you say host writing tip videos, it sounds like you do live streams. And if that's inaccurate, I would say I create writing tip videos for my YouTube channel, or my YouTube channel has writing tip videos. And I don't want to be rude, but 79 subscribers is not a number you necessarily want to give to an agent, because it's a very low number.
They only care 10,000 and up.
Yeah, like that might hurt you more than help you if you give a low number for your audience.
Also, 2021? Is this person a time traveler?
Yeah.
That might have been a typo.
Yeah, that might have been a typo, and that's fine. But yeah. Oh, and then I corrected it while saying it, but I didn't mention it. Again, you don't want it, like you want the word count to be at the nearest 1,000, even if that means you have to round down or round up. Okay, yeah, Disney Panda suggested with the potential for a companion novel. That works. Let me see if I can find the word that I'm looking for that also deals with it, but I don't think so. Yeah, that Google search wasn't helpful. But yeah, companion novel might be a good one. Okay. Any questions?
I have one. It's kind of a dumb question, like
No
most
dumb
of my
questions.
Whenever, because Disney Panda brought up the good thing of like with potential for a companion novel. I know you're not supposed to, but hypothetically, if one was to pitch a novella series, how would you go about doing that?
You pitch the first book and you say other books in the series have been written.
Okay. So we would have to write the whole thing and then just be like the rest of them are all written as well.
Yeah, if you want to do that, or if you don't want to write all of them, and wait to find out if the first one got picked up, then that would be fine too. But if you're set on it being a series, and you might as well, like, I don't know, if you're set on it being a series and you're not going to budge on that at all, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't just write them, and then you still have to only pitch the first book, but saying the other books are written doesn't hurt.
Okay.
How specific can you get into like saying if it has series potential? Like if you only envision one book coming after the first book, do you really specify like, oh, with duology potential?
I would say with the potential of a sequel, if you're only planning one other book, but if you're like 2 books or more, you can just say series potential. You don't have to say trilogy or saga, quartet, or I think those are the only 2 words that are used to describe books of 4. Cycle, sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
There are way too many adjectives for a 4-book series.
Quadrology.
Yeah. So, yeah, if it's one other book, I would say sequel or companion, depending on, or no, I wouldn't say prequel. I don't know, because that's more. For some reason, I feel like saying it has this potential for a prequel has more presumption than saying there's sequel potential. But yeah, it's fine. Let's see. Okay. Okay, next one.
Oh, real quick. Hello, Jacqueline.
Oh, hi, Jacqueline. Oh, right. I quickly wanted to say difference between companion novel and a sequel. Sequel is like directly connected, and a companion is maybe from like another character's perspective, or same setting but different characters or whatever. It's not directly connected. But if you say sequel and it turns out you meant companion, like an agent's not necessarily going to ding you on that. Okay, Written in the Stars, complete at 97,000 words, is a young adult high fantasy adventure similar to The Witcher, told from The Witcher's popular. Okay, told from the perspective of Jaskier, more likely to murder of of a Jaskier, sorry, I thought that was a name, of a Jaskier more likely to murder their companion with the lute than sing glorifying songs about their companion. Okay, so someone had asked earlier at the start of the stream whether or not you should go for like really famous stuff with your comps. I had said no, and I still hold to that. So while The Witcher is great and everyone knows what it means, it can make an agent roll their eyes and be like, of course you're going to compare it to that, but like you think too highly of yourself. So again, I'm going to reiterate, people should try to find comp titles that are within 3 years old and popular, but that doesn't mean they have to have made a bestseller list. And you can include TV or movies, and they don't have to be within 3 years. But yeah, you want to show that you know the genre is popular among audiences within a timely manner. And if the comp title has not been turned into a movie or TV show, so that it's very clear what it is, I would also give the author name of the comp title. Okay.
And then with something like The Witcher, sorry. Would you want to specify like Netflix's The Witcher so that people
versus the video game
book? Yeah, because I mean I've only seen the Netflix show and that's what's coming to mind.
Yeah. Like I think if you say Game of Thrones or The Witcher, it's fine to just leave it at that because people know that there are differences between the books and the world, but it's like the books and the adaptation, but it's similar enough that if someone's making that as a comparison, it's a little bit more uniform. Doll, did you have something to say?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I don't know. I thought I heard someone start talking and I didn't want to speak over them.
It was me, but
sorry, Kelly.
It's okay. It's all right. I think I was just wondering because I know The Witcher from video game, right? But I was wondering if it was actually a book and then a video game and then Netflix picked it up. Okay.
That was the order, yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
Okay. Written in the stars, but okay, yeah. Quest are for heroes and Suzaku. Sorry, Suzaku isn't a hero. Far from it. In fact, Suzaku. Oh my god, I've mixed up the vowels. Okay. Quests are for heroes and Suzaku isn't a hero. Far from it. In fact, Suzaku's job is a bloody business, and his only guarantee is that his contracts end in murder. That's funny. He always holds out hope that the next contract will call for a dramatic death. Those are his favorites. This contract, however, didn't even involve death and came with the tag along. Prince Orion, who will stop at nothing to fulfill, typo, there should be 2 L's, his quest to find the stolen magic scrolls of Zakir. I don't know how to pronounce that because it's a made-up word. That's okay. The 2 begrudging allies are swept up in a quest that descends into chaos as a traitor in the king's family is revealed and they are framed for murder. Suzaku drags Orion along a zigzagging route in an attempt to clear their names of the one murder Suzaku didn't commit. In their pursuit for answers, they learn that the scrolls are the key to a demonic energy that, if summoned, would destroy a world barely maintaining its fragile peace. Suzaku finds the fate of the world is potentially in the palms of his blood-stained hands, and the only thing keeping him together is, of all things, Orion. I'm an ace writer, barista Matis. I don't know what that means, but that's okay. And the owner of more Starbucks mugs that can be used by most humans. I've been writing for nearly 2 decades, and I love fantasy almost as much as a perfect cup of coffee. I currently live in Ontario, Canada, after spending 5 years teaching English overseas in South Korea and Japan. Written in the Stars is my debut novel. I can be found on Instagram and Twitter at username redacted. Thank you for your consideration. Have a lovely day. Yeah, you don't need to say debut novel. The rest of the bio is fine.
I love this query.
Yeah, the query is very interesting. I had a thought and I already forgot it. So let me just quickly read through.
I would totally read this book.
Me too.
I would too.
Also, ace writer. Yes.
Yeah. Also, I just looked up Métis or Métis, and it's a multi-ancestral indigenous group whose homeland is in Canada, between the Great Lakes region and the Rocky Mountains.
Thank you.
They trace their descent to both indigenous North Americans and European settlers.
Cool. Thank you.
Wikipedia.
Interesting.
Okay, I would say. Oh wait. This contract, however, didn't even involve death and came with a tag along. Prince Orion, who will stop at nothing to fulfill. There was that one typo. So magic. Okay.
Yeah, fix the typo. Don't say it's a debut novel, but I love the query.
Yes.
Okay. The Prince Orion who will stop. Prince Orion just kind of gets dropped in the paragraph that he first appears, and I don't know of a better way to do it, but it seems a little jarring. Is the only thing I would say. I don't know how to fix that though, because it came so this contract however didn't even involve death and came with a tag along. So like the whole story, the query part of the story, there we go, is clearly from Suzaku's like point of view, kind of like we're following Suzaku through the story. So for the sentence to be Prince Orion, who will stop at nothing to fulfill his quest to find the stolen magical scrolls of Zahir, whatever, I think that's what it is. As an independent sentence, it seems like you're switching point of view in a way. So if you said came with the tag along :, you're fine, and that fixes the issue. So yeah, those are the only minor changes to this query that I would make. It's really good, and I would definitely read it.
I would love to curl up with like a blanket by a fire and have some cocoa, maybe some spiked cocoa, and just read this all night with some snow outside. It'd be great.
So what you're saying is that we need to tell the agent to publish this in winter.
Please.
Yeah, or like November or like fall time. Like it just needs.
I mean, I'm in the southern hemisphere, so like your winter is my summer, so I don't care anymore. Just publish the damn thing.
Honestly, I do the same with all of these. These sound great, except mine. I'm kidding.
Oh no, yours sounded good. Yours sounded great too, Haley. I love the comp titles you had as well.
Well, it's funny talking about The Witcher because I originally had The Witcher as one of my comp titles.
Yeah, it's just you don't want to. Yeah, I just would stay away from things like that are so popular that it's like it's great because it's so popular, so everyone knows what you mean when you compare it to that. But at the same time, you're gonna be like, yeah, but are you actually that good? The answer is most likely no. So you don't want an agent to just like.
That was one of the thoughts I had in another query, and it escaped me because I got distracted. But that was another thing I was gonna say. If you're comparing your world to Avatar: The Last Airbender, boy, you are raising the bar so high that you better be good, because Avatar: The Last Airbender is like the closest thing. The original, the 2005 one, the one that we all know. You know, that thing is like closest to perfection that we have ever seen on TV. So like if you're comparing your if it's a comp title, you better be just as good. So Avatar: The Last Airbender is another dangerous comp title for me, at least for me personally, because I love. Oh, and you better have a blind tough like character if you're comparing with Avatar, or else you're gonna hear from me. I'm kidding. It's just my sense of humor.
No, it's okay. I get your sense of humor. With mine, I was just comparing it to the in-depth world building because my world building is very in-depth, like Avatar: The Last Airbender's universe is very in-depth. It's very multifaceted. And that's what I like in a world.
It's just a little bit dangerous though, because like
I will agree with Doll here.
I do see what you're saying, but yeah.
Okay.
This actually reminded me of it. I had a really quick question. Well, for yours, you comp two like shows. Is that like good for? Wait, did I already ask this?
Bleach was technically a manga, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Okay, if it's a manga and I made another mistake in transcribing your thing, I apologize.
No, I'm pretty
sure you generally want something that's written at least one of your comps.
Okay.
Okay, completely unrelated. I just found out that Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away, and I am devastated. So I'm just going to have a moment of silence for her. Okay. Sorry, that was completely unrelated, but I just, she was such a hero. And, okay, I just had to.
I have another unrelated thing, although it is kind of related because we have been talking about The Witcher a lot. Can I just say that Superman grimes up real good? That is my only thing on it. Like, dang.
Oh, Henry Cavill.
Yes.
I have no idea because I don't
It took
watch.
me a second. I was like, Henry
I
Cavill.
didn't know his name off the top of my head because
Okay,
I'm not
yeah,
really a Superman kind of girl, but
Yeah.
I was like, dang, he grimes up good.
Okay, yeah, Henry Cavill.
I was like, who's Superman in The Witcher?
Yeah, I'm very confused.
Also, wait, Zara, jumping off on the moment of silence.
Yeah.
Everybody American, vote.
Yes.
Vote.
Yeah.
Americans in the chat,
Yes.
vote.
Check to make sure you're registered to vote too, because
Yes.
people have been getting kicked off registration. Vote.org. I will.
Vote.org.
Yeah. I put it in the comments. I'll put it in the description, and people will be like, "Why is this in the description?" But okay, vote.org to check your registration because everyone needs to vote. Yes. Okay. Someone in the comments disagrees about me saying like not to go with really, really popular comp titles, and like it's okay if you say like the themes of or write similar to. I would just be wary, and I would say it's better to avoid that if you can, because I see it playing out in a worse way with agents more than getting you extra points, because they were saying if they saw it in one of their favorite books, they'd be very excited. But that's a reader who's assuming that the book has already been polished and is good and interesting and everything. Whereas an agent, if they see an unknown writer being like, oh, I'm like this really, really popular thing, it just sounds a little conceited. And you don't want to give that off at all if possible. Okay.
Can I add in something else too?
Yes.
Going off of that, because I did use something very popular, but I'm not using it to like pitch stuff. But there's a rule that Meg Latour on iWriterly talks about. It's basically like there are some exceptions to the rule, but never expect that you are the exception. And that's something I keep on noting to myself whenever
100%.
when I do go to theory.
I am a writer who's like the other of other, like the minority of minorities, of diversities. Like I have said that enough. Like I have all the diversities you can think of combined. I am still not the exception. I am still a nobody, still a nothing. So I don't think that because I am so freaking different, I am better or like whatever. I am just as in the same trenches like everybody else. So that's why like the comp titles could be a very dangerous if you say that you are the next best-selling Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Avatar, whatever.
Yeah, we're all in the trenches together.
Yeah. Okay, I have two more to go through. The one here has pitches. Yeah, okay, so the first one, or not the first, whatever. Okay. My novel, The Weaving Spider and Moth, is an own voices young adult passing adult sci-fi edging into the paranormal. The manuscript is completed at 88,000 words. It's a standalone with serious potential. Tibor was born and raised in isolation aboard the new International Space Station. Going to Earth and seeing all its wonders, that's his dream. But first he wants to be the best astral spy his adoptive father's ever seen. All's good until Tibor is put in charge of testing those newbies from Earth. His ability to induce nightmares starts the rumor of him being the first traveler born in a space lab, and the kids mock him as less than human. Things go downhill when his adoptive father reveals his intentions, training Tibor to become an astral assassin. In his duality of dreams and reality, his father's approval is at risk. Then a new task. A non-modified girl with unknown talents has been missing for years. He must find her. With the guidance of new friends, he eventually meets his equal, but is this person a new friend or his next victim? From singer-songwriter to expat student to bilingual interpreter, between all of it, I'm an aspiring author who so happens to be partially blind. My first publication is a short story, part of the Disability and Romance Summer Heat 2019 anthology. I'm growing my author platform, and I'm serious about a long-term writing career. Please find the sample chapters below. Thank you in advance for your time and consideration. Okay, I'm going to go over the query before I go over the pitches. You can take out my novel. You can just start with the title where it says The Weaver, Spider, and Moth is in own voices, et cetera, et cetera. Like the agent knows it's your novel. I like the description. I like the first paragraph about Tibor. All's good until Tibor. Okay, I will say going to Earth and seeing all its natural wonders, that's his dream. Linguistically speaking, it's okay, but grammatically it's a little bit awkward, and I would, just to be safe, say his dream is to see, his dream is to go
Note
to Earth.
to self, stop being
wonders. Yeah. All's good until Tibor's in charge of testing those newbies. The thing about him being less than human, like that paragraph was perfect in my opinion. Things go downhill. I wouldn't say things go downhill because it's a bit of a cliche.
Thank you.
You can say, you can say something where it's like things get worse, but like things go downhill is a cliche, as is things get worse. So find a different way to phrase it. And then the rest of the sentence, when his adoptive father reveals his real intentions, training Tibor to become an astral assassin. That whole paragraph was great. Although in his duality of dreams and reality, it sounds really cool, but it's a little confusing. Like he can cause nightmares.
He can also kill people because he can manifest physically as an astral spy. You know, even if he's in astral state, he can manifest physically. So that's the twist. Like he's the only one who can.
Okay.
I'm outing myself. I'm having the worst anxiety attack that I have had in the whole week.
I'm so sorry, but it's really good. I'm just giving minor tweaks.
No, those are needed.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe just a different word than duality. Or you could say in between dreams and reality. It would just be a little bit more clear.
Yes. Doll, stop being poetic. That's gonna be
you have your whole novel to be poetic in. It's just with the query, you need to be like fast and clear.
Mm-hmm. I was falling into this advice that I heard that your voice should show in your query.
Your voice does show. It's just those two instances make it a little bit unclear. And when it comes between voice or clarity, you always have to pick clarity.
Yes.
Yeah, especially in a query. Okay, so those are my critiques for the query part. Okay, the pitches, I'm going to read them very quickly because they're short and they're for
just Twitter pitches.
Yeah. Okay, the Light We Cannot See and Space. 2060s lab-made spaceborne boy skilled at astral projection with a twist. Blind Earthling girl with nightmare-inducing abilities. Genetically modified humans living in the new ISS. Abusive parents search for found families. Pitmad A, SF owned, Dis. Yep. Good. Tibor and Annie are skilled at astral projection with a twist. They don't know the other exists. One in space, the other in Peru. Ooh, that's cool. Both trapped, dealing with abuse. A lab made and a partially blind are oddest pair you'll ever find. Ha! Yeah. Okay. I don't have any.
I'll stop being poetic.
Yeah. No, those are good. The tweets. Yeah. I don't have any critiques about the Twitter pitches.
Dad, teach me your ways. I need to
What?
write a
Yeah.
good like Twitter pitch. Mine are always too long. Yeah.
I barely managed. Like I spent 3 hours
No.
with each one. With seriously 3 hours with each one, and I had a couple more, but those were the ones that got more likes. So like, well, retweets, I would say, because like no, I didn't get many likes. But yeah, those were the ones that people were like, oh my god, yeah. So so those are the two. The next pit mad, I will do it again. Try again.
I'd like to make a compliment because I really like the title doll, and I'm not normally a sci-fi kind of gal, but as someone who's a more high fantasy reader, this was intriguing me. So that is very good. It's very interesting.
I used spider and moth because both animals weave, and it has to do with like choices and your own destiny and like what you do. It's a found family and friendship kind of story versus abusive parents forcing you to do something you don't want to. So like the whole dehumanization of these children, how they are perceived, like less than. One because he was in a lab space, he was born in space. He like, where are you from doesn't apply to him. And the other one because of the dehumanization of disabled people in Latin America, which is a reality that I'm sorry, but it will not stop because no one is talking about it. So it will just stay with us until who knows when. So the dehumanization aspect, and the main character Tibor, he has this thing for nature, like I said in the query. So he has this thing that to try to understand people a little bit better, he thinks of animal traits. So the spider and the moth are basically them, Tibor and the other girl.
That's so
I love that. Have
interesting.
you read?
Yeah.
Have you listened? I don't know if it's on audiobook or not, but the Maximum Ride series. It's
I
also
love
about
that
children.
series. I love that series so much.
Please, someone link me because I suck at.
I will send them to you.
Thank you, because I suck at
haven't listened to
titles.
the audiobook, so I can't speak to the narrator, but I loved those books growing up.
I need to comp titles. I have no comp titles at all. Like The Light We Cannot See, like All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. And I am even hesitant about that one. First of all, because it's older. Second, because it's not sci-fi. But like it's a boy trapped in a N-word youth. The other N-word, the Deutsch one. So the boy trapped in this very evil environment, and then the blind girl in Paris. So it's like it's the only comparison I have.
I actually think it's unique. I think it's interesting that that's your comp title, and I think that will make people pay attention.
Well,
so I think you're very good. Okay,
yeah, if you want any like more spacey titles, like Y, we'll make. Oh, okay, I can only give you YA ones, but if you want them, I might have some recs. I might have some recommendations.
Please send me all the things, because I am still like, when it comes to like the outside world, I'm very introspective and I can work in my own world and write my own stories, but I am not very acquainted because first off, this is not YA, it's YA passing. And I did that on purpose because the characters in this novel start very young, even like children, 10 years old, very young. But the time span of this novel, and this is why I also did the Light We Cannot See comparison, because the time span, this is why it's adult, because of the rule that if you write a novel that you see like the characters like 5 years later and whatever, that's already adult. So that's why I did that. But it's very YA passing.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think that what you did is fine. I think it's good. Okay, the person who's been commenting about whether or not to do like famous comp titles, I'm popping the comment up on here, which reads, "Let me give you an example." I'm not saying I am like this popular author. It's saying my book has similar themes. There is a difference. I know there's a difference. I'm just saying what my bosses did and what I adopted under their tutelage, I guess. And it says, and then someone else said multiple formats of writing a query including I writerly, and then a reply saying, I agree all agents are different. You should make your own opinion and base it on, you should make your own opinion or base it on what the agent likes or has accepted in the past. Yeah, again, I just want to clarify that what I'm saying is not the be all end all, but I'm trying to give feedback based on what I know is a trend of behavior amongst the agents I've met. And so like, you don't have to follow my advice to the letter of the law. But I am saying that all the agents I know, they don't like, it's a tricky thing. I'm not saying don't do it. Phrasing it as themes similar to a book is like safer than saying your book is like blank. But again, it's just an agent might be turned off by that immediately. But then there might be an agent who's like, oh, I love that. So again, it's not a be all or end all thing. I'm going to go quickly through the next one. Natalie said, when it comes between voice or clarity, you always have to pick clarity. I'm posting this on my wall. Well, thank you. I'm glad.
Yeah, I am taking notes because I'm going to tweak that, your point, Zara. Thank you very much. I'm already fixing it. Yeah, I am like this. So people tell me what to fix. I fix it like there, like I'm on it now. But yeah, thank you very much for the feedback. I mean, I'm shaking, but okay. But okay.
Oh, I have a quick question.
Yes.
I didn't know moths weave.
They do.
That's
What?
the whole thing.
They do. They
remember
that they start off as larvae or like little worms. So before they turn into a moth, they also weave their own cocoon.
Yeah.
My mind is blown. Okay. That's it.
Okay. Yes, let's do the last one. Natalie, thank you for watching and planning to rewatch. You're welcome. Hopeful happenings. I'm glad this is helpful to you. We have one more to go. I'm going to try and wrap this up by 9. We might go a little bit over. But yeah, okay. After an amicable split with my previous agent, I'm currently seeking representation on a new manuscript, a 67,000-word upper middle grade dark urban fantasy titled Mystic Emporium and the Goblins Underground. Cool title. All in caps, which is fine. When Glenn Davies and his father are out shopping, he is surprised to meet a richly dressed man in his rundown section of Baltimore, and still more to see goblins stealing his father down a manhole. If it were not for the elegantly scrawled business card the man had given Glenn, his father would have gone down as an unsolvable kidnapping or abandonment. But the card said Mystic Emporium Antiques, we find anything that goes missing. So Glenn decides to see if anything included goblin-napped fathers. That's cool. I like that. Upon showing up at the Mystic Emporium Antique shop, Glenn learns that who he thought was a richly dressed man named Tucker Nightingale is actually the less formal assistant to the somber owner of the shop, Auburn Decanter, and they are both Tuatha De Danann, Celtic.
Tuatha De Danann. Sorry, that's a Celtic.
Thank you. Yeah. I was like, I know I'm butchering that, so thank you for the correction, doll. Auburn and Tucker agree to help rescue Glenn's father from the goblins, but demand a high price for their service to the boy. With little choice and no humans who would believe him, Glenn agrees to follow them into the sewers of Baltimore, where they will confront the goblins and rescue his father. As if that task isn't risky enough, once underground, the three of them discover a more sinister plot afoot, one where the entire city of Baltimore could be swallowed up in a Fey rebellion. I would say if that task weren't risky enough instead of isn't risky enough. I believe that's the only change I would make so far. Written as a standalone but with serious potential, Mystic Emporium and the Goblins Underground is a 67. Okay, this is saying the information again about the 67,000 word urban fantasy, I don't think you need to say that because you've always said it in the beginning. So you could just say written as a standalone. I would take out the but. So written as a standalone with serious potential, Mystic Emporium and the Goblins Underground would appeal to fans of Brandon Mull's Fablehaven series and I never knew how to pronounce his first name. Oin Colfer's Artemis Fowl series. I like that growing up. I never learned how to pronounce the author's name.
Question, Sarah, standalone, it has a hyphen or?
I've seen it both ways.
Okay.
I would have
because like my grammar check is marking it without, like it's not correct, and then I had a hyphen, and I was like, is this correct? Thank you.
Let me do a quick Google search. I've seen it as both, and I can never make up my own mind about it. Okay, standalone. No. Okay. So standalone as two separate words is not an option. Standalone as a single word means a device or object may operate independently from another system or object. Standalone with a hyphen is acceptable. So yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay. And fixed. Yeah. About my cliche with the thing that you told me, I fixed it already. It says things take the worst turn when.
Yes. Perfect.
Fixed.
Okay. So obviously this fans of Brandon Mull's Fablehaven series and Oin Colfer's Artemis Fowl series, again, that goes back to the question of whether or not you want to mention like timely and popular and famous things. So I'm not going to reiterate that for like the 50,000th time in the stream. If you want to, go ahead. I'm just saying that some agents might not like that. Author Redacted currently resides in Baltimore, Maryland, where she wonders what reality... Oh my God, I can't read. Author Redacted currently lives in Baltimore, Maryland, where she wonders what really lives inside the 100-year-old sewer system every time she watches the steam rise from the massive manholes. That's a good start to the bio paragraph. It's very related. After writing paranormal romance for years, she partnered up with her husband. Together, they wrote in a genre that they are both reading, middle grade, and this is their debut novel under the same pen name. So, Kelly, here we go. Also, pen name is written as a single word, and it should be 2 words. If you use pseudonym, that's a single word. Or I don't know if pen name could be hyphenated. I don't believe so. Nope. Pen name is 2 words. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. I look forward to hearing from you soon. The story thing is really good. So I guess the only thing I would say is the take out that it's 67,000 word urban fantasy in the later paragraph because you've already said it at the start and you don't want to be repetitive. And then the thing about like famous series, whether you do or don't. There was a comment about whether or not this stream was meant to involve like comments. I've been addressing the comments throughout, and I was only going to pop up questions that were on screen, and there were a lot of conversations happening within the chat, which is why not a lot of comments ever made it to the screen. So yeah. That's why I had said at the start that if anyone had questions to write a Q in front. And then, so if I do, I do plan to do these streams around the time that PitchWars, PitchWars is opening next week. And then there's a PitNat in December, I believe. So around that time, I will also be doing one of these. And if you want to, send stuff to me to critique before then, the link to do that is down below. But do any of my co-hosts or anyone in the comments have questions they want me to answer?
I really love the way that like sounds, like how they set up, like, yes, they live in Baltimore. And then whenever they were talking about how they look at the sewers, that's like really cute. But it also, to me, I was getting like Percy Jackson-esque vibes in some way, but it could also just be because I love Percy Jackson. And that was like the book for me.
Yeah, I love Percy Jackson too.
I will respectfully say that's the worst thing I have ever read. Blind monster,
Del, my mouth
blind
is
monsters
open
that
in
have to
shock.
die. Blind monsters that have to die. Since when the Minotaur is blind? Someone please tell me. I mean, no one picked it up because you're not blind, but I did. So it's the worst thing I have ever written. Sorry, Riordan. I know you're a good guy, but your blind representation in those books was awful.
Yeah, I
Hey,
didn't think
that is a
yeah.
valid critique.
I remembered.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't remember
But
the Minotaur being blind.
people enjoy
Honestly,
it,
fantasy
so I
authors
respect
have
it.
to work like so much harder to like destroy the correlation between disabilities and like fantasy monsters, especially.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but like read it for Percy.
Yeah, but then Grover is a soulless creature, and when he disguises, he's with crutches. And same for Professor Chiron, he's in a wheelchair, and he's also a soulless creature. So visible disabilities are soulless monsters, and invisible disabilities are okay. No, Riordan, no. So yeah, that's my whole against Percy Jackson thing. But I see the appeal.
Totally fair, and I never would have thought about it that way. So thank you for bringing that
valid
up.
point.
It's still entertaining. It's still entertaining. I see the whole introducing kids to Greek mythology, so I see the helpfulness of it in a way. It's just that me being the blind monster that has to die, no, thank you. And I'm glad I never read that as a child because that would have traumatized me.
Yeah.
I had a quick question about the last query.
Yeah.
The author seemed to bring up like a lot of names. How
Yeah.
like a lot of the names of the shop owner and then the shop apprentice. Would you say that it's better to cut out the most important names and just keep with descriptors? Or
I would say, like, we had multiple ones where there are two, like, kind of main characters, like two protagonists in a way. Those I would say first names. I think
Maybe it's a multi POV.
Yeah, I don't know. The way it was written though, because it's a middle grade, I don't think it's going to be a multi POV, given the other characters are adults, it seems. So I would maybe stick with descriptors. I don't think, because there are only 3 names altogether, including the main character, I think it's okay. But yeah, in general, you want to keep it to like the main character with the name and everyone else in your.
I have a question about this. Like, if you're writing a multi POV, that's mine. Mine is a dual POV, but as you can see, I only mentioned people in the query. I did not mention the other one.
That's okay. It's okay that you didn't mention both POV people by name.
Good.
But if you did, that would also be okay. It's more just like you don't want to name characters who aren't incredibly significant.
I mentioned the secondary character when the query says eventually he will meet his equal, but that's it. And like the very end of the story pitch is where I kind of subtly mentioned that there is the other POV, but I didn't because people had this advice of focus to one character even if you're writing 2, because then the pitch gets a little bit too long.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I mean, your query with the tweaks that you made, I'm sure is great. When I write my book descriptions, because I self-publish, I do like 1 paragraph for each character, and it's very, very short. So like I can fit both in. But if you're querying, and even the way I write my stories, it is kind of like one is more of the hero than the other. So picking one and writing as if they're like the main hero of the story.
Same here.
It all is fine.
Same here. Book 1, because yes, it's a series potential. I want this to be a trilogy. I wish, but we will see about that. But yeah, book 1 is the focus is more on him, because they still, they don't know of each other. We don't know if they will get to know each other. We don't know yet. So the focus is more on him.
Yeah. And Catherine Faye wrote in the comments, "You're not a blind monster doll, but a lovely person." So I just wanted to read that out loud to you. In case
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine.
yeah, any last questions?
Well, I'm just thankful that you did this. It's I have learned, and like what you said about voice versus clarity, it's very important because I focus a lot on the writer voice, and English is my second language. So oops, things can come out.
Which is
I'll stop being
impressive.
poetic.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, you did a
impressive.
really good job, doll. I don't want you to think that I was like,
No. It's absolutely needed and appreciated. I'm so thankful for this experience. It's like I'm always learning. This is what I am here for.
Yeah, thank you, Zara. I hope that
It
I
has
mean,
been
not just for mine, but maybe this could be a series.
yeah, no,
Your critique is
I
really
think it will
helpful.
be. And I wish everyone luck with Pitmat. No, which one is it?
PitchWars.
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 Yes.
Pitmat already happened. I
Yeah.
tried it. I don't know. Should I? Okay, question. Should I try PitchWars this time around?
Yes.
I don't see why not.
I feel like I'm a.
You have
I
the stuff ready.
I feel like I'm a
Yeah.
commercial risk.
No,
Doll,
everybody's a
do it.
commercial risk. I'm gay.
Everyone's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Gotcha.
everyone's a commercial risk.
Gotcha.
So-
Gotcha. Yeah.
Do it. You're ready. It's not like you're like if, and also if you psych yourself out and be like, oh, it's not like perfect, like your stuff is really, really good. And so
Very
as it
thankful
is,
to hear this.
tweaks, so you have it ready to go, doll. There's no reason not to just try.
I'll try. I'll try again. I will try again. I will see what I can do and not let my anxiety and fears sabotage me like I did for author mentor match because I was too honest with author mentor match. I was too honest about like how I felt, and I was basically saying I already know I'm gonna fail. It's
No.
okay. I take
Don't let
it.
Don't let imposter syndrome get the better of you. I'm sure you're a strong writer, and the fact that you are bilingual is very impressive. So if you can write in both languages, I bet that's even a better thing because
I drop a few phrases in because this other character is in Peru.
Okay.
I
don't want to
drop
yeah.
Spanish there too, so a little bit.
I'm just going to quickly go through the last few comments. You're welcome, Disney Panda. I'm so glad you found it helpful. You're welcome, Catherine Faye. Natalie Locke is asking if I would ever do like a first line or first paragraph critique live stream. Maybe. I'm not totally sure. I know that Sage Gordon Davis, whose YouTube channel has been renamed to Moon Bunny Creative, has a podcast called Ink and Sage
Ink and
podcast.
Sage.
And if you email Ink and Sage pod, let me look up what it's called. Yeah, if you email Ink and Sage _podcast at gmail.com with your first sentence, first paragraph, first page, it might be included in a future podcast episode where Sage critiques it. So that might be better. I don't want to encroach on Sage's territory too much. I did this because I have interned as a literary agent assistant.
Yes.
But someone had asked a while ago whether I offer developmental editing, I think. I do developmental editing. Yeah. Okay. Danya had asked at the very beginning if I offer developmental editing. I do. It's also on my website. If you click on hire me page from the menu bar, zarahoffman.com/hire-me. But if you click on the link below, it brings you right to my query critique service. And then from there, you could get to my other services. Natalie is encouraging you to submit doll.
I'll do it. I'll do it. I will go to the website. I will go and see the mentors because I know that's out already. So I'm gonna. When is the deadline?
It opens on the 27th and it ends on October 1st.
Okay, so yeah, it's a submission window. Yeah, I know.
The submission window got extended because it's Rosh Hashanah this weekend, and a lot of Orthodox Jews don't use technology during that time.
Got it. Yes.
Doll, I will say, I think you should submit because I think it's a great opportunity. But I will say, I believe 2 days ago there was a whole debacle about disability representation with PitchWars leadership. So I don't know if that affects your decision, and I want to put that out there.
I had no idea that was going. Whoa.
Yeah, so about that, people were saying that people asked if the mentor lists could be filtered by category, like fantasy, YA, etc. And PitchWars was basically like, no, you have to do your own research. This is like the real world. You don't get favors like that. And then people clapped back at them hard, and they made a filterable list, and they hired somebody as a accessibility and disability consultant.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Catherine added a thing at the last comment where I've been told you want middle of the road comps that agents know, nothing too obscure, nothing too famous. So yeah, what's considered in the category of too famous? Anything that defined a generation. So like, for
Lord
better
of
or
the
worse,
Rings,
like
Harry Potter,
Twilight,
Hunger Games, Game of Thrones,
Twilight, Hunger Games,
Avatar: The Last Airbender, even.
Yeah. So anything that I can say without saying anything else, and you know what it is, like without having to say the movie or TV show blank or book title by author.
A Space Odyssey, The Shining, A Clockwork Orange. I'm going in like diverse ones, not just fantasy, but like anything. It applies to sci-fi. So if you say Dune, Ender's Game, such things. First of all, don't do those because those are older and you should not do that.
Right. But yeah, if you can just say the title of the thing, no matter what medium it is, TV, movie, or book, it's probably too famous. Catherine Faye also said, I believe PitchWars did at least apologize and go about rectifying their mistake. They did apologize, but a lot of people in the comments who have disabilities were saying that they weren't doing enough and were giving them more suggestions about what to do with like the belief that none of it was going to happen, which may be cynical, but also, is just what they were saying. So I just wanted Dahl to have the full picture because obviously Dahl is rightfully very adamant about good disability representation and treatment and equality, which we don't have enough of. So
I will give it a try because I am very, what is the word? Now I sound like a foreigner, but because I'm flattered by the encouragement, by the support, and I'm happy that my work has, shown like I am working hard and it shows. So I will try one more time.
Yes. I think we're going to close out the stream based on that. If all of you want to quickly plug yourselves again one more time, let's go in reverse order this time. So Dahl, do a quick outro.
Yes. Thank you again. Thank you so much, Zara and Haley and Kelly and everyone in the chat. I am Dahl Cecile Bruno, the partially blind alien who's an own voices author, aka the ace from space. I write primarily sci-fi, but I want to be a multi-genre author, so I explore other genres with my short stories, and I also write some poetry. I stream every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and I co-host wherever I'm invited. Thank you.
Kelly. Oop, Kelly, you're on mute.
That was a great outro. I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to follow that, but my name is Kelly Ray. I am a YA fantasy writer. I'm on YouTube. I do writerly videos. I'm also on Instagram at @writing_dragon, all lowercase. If you want to find me on there, I normally post fun things. And that's it.
Hi, I'm Haley. I'm a YA fantasy author. I also write plays. I focus primarily on queer themes and LGBTQ plus in general. You can find me on YouTube as Haley Haggerty. And I just released a new video today that's might be good for people trying out Millwordy. It's all about like increasing your word count every day.
Watch that.
So check it out. Also, thank you so much, Sarah, for putting this together.
Of course. My name is Zara Hoffman. I'm a self-published author of young adult paranormal romance. I write in a lot of other genres. None of them are published yet, though. My YouTube channel is devoted to writing stuff and musical theater stuff and soon mental health stuff, and also kind of whatever pops into my mind. These three ladies' channels are not currently linked down below because I forgot to before the stream started, but I will be doing that as soon as this is uploaded. So be sure to click their YouTube links, subscribe, like their videos, and then you can find their social media through their channels. Thank you so much for everyone who came. I hope that was helpful.